This reading is from my recent book, It Was Only a Movie. The particular story is called Hoppy Yule. Oftentimes as kids, my sisters and I would visit a robust farming aunt whom we adored for her plain-spoken good cheer. She achieved a degree of regional fame in the 1950s for her dual vocations of marijuana cultivation and raising bovines for the cow-fighting rings of Spain and Portugal. Auntie was what my parents called barrel-chested, a term typically reserved for a different gender than the one associated with an auntie. We kids affectionately dubbed her Auntie Knockers, or, when chastened for our insolence, the more appropriate nickname, her bustiness. Come winter evenings around a crackling fire, innocent family banter would sometimes turn sharply confrontational, but rarely violent. At such moments our dear auntie could hold her own, debating anybody in the room, even my father. Now, intimidated was not a word that anybody ever associated with my dad. Even he, however, sometimes seemed cowed by auntie, especially when she spiraled into one of her moods, rendering her somewhat like an inflated balloon suddenly released to flutter spastically through space and time until landing limp and exhausted atop a half-eaten plate of nachos or the open mouth of an empty beer bottle. Poor Dad was hobbled by his particular aversion to beer, which our dear auntie drank by the keg. The interpersonal gulf was further exacerbated by her enduring antipathy for the pricier hard stuff that my dad consumed. For want of more elegant phrasing, auntie would often proclaim, "Can't cut the sark on a farmer's income." Now I'm going to digress a little for a footnote. For those not in the know about mid-octane Scotch whiskey, Cutty Sark is a blend best suited for six-cylinder internal combustion engines. Back to the main narrative. Auntie had a no-holds-barred tongue germane to the rough circumstances of her country upbringing. She survived from week to week, selling marijuana from a crop that she raised out of sight beyond the harsh glare of law enforcement. Her farm was located in the Eastern Township's village named, of all things, Whedon. Auntie never smoked the stuff because selling it was too profitable to pass up even a tiny portion of revenue. In any case, she much preferred smoking ordinary tobacco, puffed from cheap stogies available behind cash registers of reputable gas stations everywhere. Though commonplace in our current era of legalized weed, back then the practice of growing and selling it was not only forbidden, it was also deemed existentially sinful, because people thought that an entire generation of young people might degenerate into socialists. Well, we all know where that leads. Universal health coverage, affordable university, gun safety, elder dignity, and subsidized childcare for working parents. In other words, pure hell on earth. For us nieces and nephews, a jaunt to Auntie's farm was always a treat, but no visit was better than a Christmas celebration of beer and home-cooked grub. My dad used to say that eating Auntie's nibbles was a little like swallowing an entire drive-through car wash with the circular side brushes left spinning as an aid to digestion. As kids so endearingly do, we'd tear around the house, lickety-split, crashing into Auntie's antique glass-doored china cabinet, inherited long ago from a more gentrified branch of family. At those poignant moments, Auntie would throw her head back in a hearty hoot, chortling, "Well, by gum, I guess the joke's on me." This remark would be followed by the barely audible, under-the-breath mutter, "Kids, bleeping kids." The bleep was murmured at such a low pitch that we could hardly make it out, but it sounded like two syllables, the first one rhyming with a common waterfowl, and the second one with a currently reigning male monarch. Auntie loved entertaining. She could guzzle her brews faster than a thirsty sailor, and she chain-smoked enough tobacco to power a steam-operated pile driver through the entire construction of a highway bridge. She held her smokes between thumb and forefinger, with the index finger on top and pinky raised, as though holding a dainty bone china teacup at a royal reception for foreign dignitaries of the highest rank. This way, Auntie could tap the ever-lengthening ash with a gentle rap of her pinky. More often, though, the butt would just hang on its own from her lower lip, dried saliva sealing the unlit end to her mouth, so that she'd need to tug it ever so slightly away from her lip in order to tap the ash before it soiled the shag rug at her feet. When chatting with Auntie, one could never concentrate on what she was actually saying. The person with whom she was holding court would simply stare at her, transfixed by the ever-lengthening ash at the end of her smoke, trying to guess exactly when it would fall of its own accord onto the rug below. But Auntie could expertly tap the ash just at the moment of self-separation, so that it would slip into an open beer bottle without so much as brushing the sides. Bzzzt went the ash as hot embers hit the stale dregs, fermenting at the bottom of the bottle. One Christmas day in particular was so unseasonably warm that all the summer insects came out for an unscheduled playdate. Cooking had made the indoor heat unbearable, so we kids careened out into the backyard, never bothering to shut the door behind us. As a result, houseflies, yellow jackets, wasps, gnats, and mosquitoes swarmed inside, biting, stinging, and contaminating all the uncovered victuals in sight, leaving the housebound adults plenty hungry and just a tad cranky. Shuffling slowly across the dining room, Auntie appeared at the still open doorway, gently crooning for us rampaging kids to close the goddamn door. It ain't like your arsehole, you know. It don't shut by itself. Happy holidays, everybody. You are in our fondest thoughts each and every solstice day.